Sirach chapter 36. Have mercy upon us, O God of all, and put all the nations in fear of you. Lift up your hand against foreign nations, and let them see your might. As you have used us to show your holiness to them, so use them to show your glory to us. Then they will know, as we have known, that there is no God but you, O Lord. Give new signs and work other wonders. Make your hand and right arm glorious. Rouse your anger and pour out your wrath. Destroy the adversary and wipe out the enemy. Hasten the day and remember the appointed time, and let people recount your mighty deeds. Let survivors be consumed in the fiery wrath, and may those who harm your people meet destruction. Crush the heads of hostile rulers who say, "There is no one but ourselves." Gather all the tribes of Jacob and give them their inheritance, as at the beginning. Have mercy, O Lord, on the people called by your name, on Israel, whom you have named your firstborn. Have pity on the city of your sanctuary, Jerusalem, the place of your dwelling. Fill Zion with your majesty and your temple with your glory. Bear witness to those whom you created in the beginning, and fulfill the prophecies spoken in your name. Reward those who wait for you, and let your prophets be found trustworthy. Hear, O Lord, the prayer of your servants, according to your good will toward your people. And all who are on the earth will know that you are the Lord, the God of the ages. The stomach will take any food, yet one food is better than another. As the palate tastes the kinds of game, so an intelligent mind detects false words. A perverse mind will cause grief, but a person with experience will pay him back. A woman will accept any man as a husband, but one daughter is preferable to another. A woman's beauty lights up a man's face, and there is nothing he desires more. If kindness and humility mark her speech, her husband is more fortunate than other men. He who acquires a wife gets his best possession, a helper fit for him, and a pillar of support. Where there is no fence, the property will be plundered, and where there is no wife, a man will become a fugitive and a wanderer. For who will trust a nimble robber who skips from city to city? So who will trust a man who has no nest, but lodges wherever nighttime finds him? Sirach chapter 37. Every friend says, "I, too, am a friend," but some friends are friends only in name. Does not sorrow draw near to death when a companion and friend turns into an enemy? O inclination to evil, why were you formed to cover the land with deceit? Some companions rejoice in the happiness of friends, but in time of trouble they are against them. Some companions help a friend for their stomach's sake, yet in battle they will carry his shield. Do not forget friends during the battle, and do not be unmindful of them when you distribute your spoils. All counselors praise the counsel they give, but some give counsel in their own interest. Be wary of counselors, and learn first what is their interest, for they will take thought for themselves. They may cast the lot against you and tell you, "Your way is good," and then stand aside to see what happens to you. Do not consult the one who regards you with suspicion. Hide your intentions from those who are jealous of you. Do not consult with a woman about her rival, or with a coward about war, with a merchant about business, or with a buyer about selling, with a miser about generosity, or with the merciless about kindness, with an idler about any work, or with a seasonal laborer about finishing the job, with a lazy slave about a big task. Pay no attention to any advice they give, but associate with a godly person whom you know to be a keeper of the commandments, who is like-minded with yourself, and who will grieve with you if you fail. And heed the counsel of your own heart, for no one is more faithful to you than it is. For your own mind sometimes keeps us better informed than 7 sentinels sitting high on a watchtower. But above all, pray to the Most High, that he may direct your way in truth. Discussion is the beginning of every work, and counsel precedes every undertaking. The mind is the root of all counsel. It sprouts 4 branches, good and evil, life and death, and it is the tongue that continually rules them. Some people may be clever enough to teach many and yet be useless to themselves. Skillful speakers may be hated. They will be destitute of all food, for the Lord has withheld the gift of charm, since they are lacking in all wisdom. If people are wise to their own advantage, the fruits of their good sense will be praiseworthy. The wise instruct their own people, and the fruits of their good sense are trustworthy. The wise will have praise heaped upon them, and all who see them will call them happy. The days of a person's life are numbered, but the days of Israel are without number. Those who are wise among their people will inherit honor, and their names will live forever. My child, test yourself while you live. See what is bad for you, and do not give in to it. For not everything is good for everyone, and no one enjoys everything. Do not be greedy for every delicacy, and do not eat without restraint. For overeating brings sickness, and gluttony leads to nausea. Many have died of gluttony, but those who guard against it prolong their lives. Sirach chapter 38. Honor physicians for their services, for the Lord created them. For their gift of healing comes from the Most High, and they are rewarded by the King. The skill of physicians makes them distinguished, and in the presence of the great they are admired. The Lord created medicines out of the earth, and the sensible will not despise them. Was not water made sweet with a tree, in order that its power might be known? And he gave skill to human beings, that he might be glorified in his marvelous works. By them the physician heals and takes away pain. The pharmacist makes a mixture from them. God's works will never be finished, and from him health spreads over all the earth. My child, when you are ill, do not delay, but pray to the Lord, and he will heal you. Give up your faults and direct your hands rightly, and cleanse your heart from all sin. Offer a sweet-smelling sacrifice and a memorial portion of choice flour, and pour oil on your offering, as much as you can afford. Then give physicians their place, for the Lord created them. Do not let them leave you, for you need them. There may come a time when recovery lies in the hands of physicians, for they, too, pray to the Lord that he grant them success in diagnosis and in healing, for the sake of preserving life. Those who sin against their Maker will be defiant toward the physician. My child, let your tears fall for the dead, and as one in great pain, begin the lament. Lay out the body according to custom, and do not neglect the burial. Let your weeping be bitter and your wailing fervent. Make your mourning worthy of the departed, for 1 day or 2, to avoid criticism. Then be comforted for your grief. For grief may result in death, and a sorrowful heart saps one's strength. In calamity, grief continues, but the life of the poor is a curse to the heart. Do not give your heart to grief. Drive it away, and remember your own end. Do not forget, there is no coming back. You do the dead no good, and you injure yourself. Remember his fate, for yours is like it. Yesterday it was his, and today it is yours. When the dead are at rest, let their remembrance rest too, and be comforted for them when their spirits have departed. The wisdom of the scribe depends on the opportunity of leisure. Only the one who has little business can become wise. How can one become wise who handles the plow and who glories in the shaft of a goad, who drives oxen and is occupied with their work, and whose talk is about the offspring of bulls? He sets his heart on plowing furrows, and he loses sleep over fodder for the heifers. So it is with every artisan and master artisan who labors by night as well as by day, those who carve the signets of seals. Each is diligent in making a great variety. They set their heart on painting a lifelike image, and they lose sleep in order to finish their work. So it is with the smith sitting by the anvil, intent on his ironwork. The breath of the fire melts his flesh, and he struggles with the heat of the furnace. The sound of the hammer deafens his ears, and his eyes are on the pattern of the object. He sets his heart on finishing his handiwork, and he loses sleep to complete its decoration. So it is with the potter sitting at his work and turning the wheel with his feet. He always lies down anxious about his work, and his every work is taken into account. He molds the clay with his arm and makes it pliable with his feet. He sets his heart to finish the glazing, and he takes care in firing the kiln. All these rely on their hands, and all are skillful in their own work. Without them, no city can be inhabited, and wherever they live, they will not go hungry. Yet they are not sought out for the counsel of the people, nor do they attain eminence in the public assembly. They do not sit in the judge's seat, nor do they understand the decisions of the courts. They cannot expound discipline or judgment, and they are not found among the rulers. But they maintain the fabric of the world, and their concern is for the exercise of their trade. How different the one who devotes himself to the study of the law of the Most High. Sirach chapter 39. They seek out the wisdom of all the ancients, and are concerned with prophecies. They preserve the sayings of the famous, and penetrate the subtleties of parables. They seek out the hidden meanings of proverbs, and are at home with the obscurities of parables. They serve among the great, and appear before rulers. They travel in foreign nations, and learn what is good and evil in the human lot. They set their hearts to rise early, to seek the Lord who made them, and to petition the Most High. They open their mouths in prayer, and ask pardon for their sins. If the great Lord is willing, they will be filled with the spirit of understanding. They will pour forth words of wisdom of their own, and give thanks to the Lord in prayer. The Lord will direct their counsel and knowledge as they meditate on his mysteries. They will show the discipline of their training, and will glory in the law of the Lord's covenant. Many will praise their understanding. It will never be blotted out. Their memory will not disappear, and their names will live through all generations. Nations will speak of their wisdom, and the congregation will proclaim their praise. If they live long, they will leave a name greater than 1,000, and if they go to rest, it is enough for them. I have more on my mind to express. I am full like the full moon. Listen to me, my faithful children, and blossom like a rose growing by a stream of water. Send out fragrance like incense, and put forth blossoms like a lily. Raise your voice and sing a hymn of praise. Bless the Lord for all his works. Ascribe majesty to his name, and give thanks to him with praise. With songs on your lips and with harps, this is what you shall say in thanksgiving. All the works of the Lord are very good, and whatever he commands will be done at the appointed time. No one can say, "What is this?" or "Why is that?" For at the appointed time everything will be made known. At his word the waters stood in a heap, and the reservoirs of water at the word of his mouth. At his command his purpose is fulfilled, and none can limit his saving power. The works of all are before him, and nothing can be hidden from his eyes. From age to age he observes all, and nothing is too marvelous for him. No one can say, "What is this?" or "Why is that?" For everything has been created for its own purpose. His blessing covers the dry land like a river and drenches it like a flood. The nations will inherit his wrath, as when he turned a watered land into salt. To the faithful his ways are straight, but full of pitfalls for the lawless. From the beginning good things were created for the good, but for sinners good things and bad. The basic necessities of human life are water and fire and iron and salt and wheat flour and milk and honey, the blood of the grape and oil and clothing. All these are good for the godly, but for sinners they turn into evils. There are winds created for vengeance, and in their anger they can dislodge mountains. On the day of reckoning they will pour out their strength and calm the anger of their Maker. Fire and hail and famine and pestilence, all these have been created for vengeance. The fangs of wild animals and scorpions and vipers, and the sword that punishes the ungodly with destruction. They take delight in doing his bidding, always ready for his service on earth, and when their time comes, they never disobey his command. So from the beginning I have been steadfast, and have thought it out and left it in writing. All the works of the Lord are good, and he will supply every need in its time. No one can say, "This is not as good as that," for everything proves good in its appointed time. So now sing praise with all your heart and voice, and bless the name of the Lord. Sirach chapter 40. Hard work was created for everyone, and a heavy yoke is laid on the children of Adam, from the day they come forth from their mother's womb until the day they return to the mother of all the living. Perplexities and fear of heart are theirs, and anxious thought of the day of their death. From the one who sits on a splendid throne to the one who grovels in dust and ashes. From the one who wears purple and a crown to the one who is clothed in burlap. There is anger and envy and trouble and unrest and fear of death and fury and strife. And when one rests upon his bed, his sleep at night confuses his mind. He gets little or no rest. He struggles in his sleep as he did by day. He is troubled by the visions of his mind, like one who has escaped from the battlefield. At the moment he reaches safety, he wakes up, astonished that his fears were groundless. To all creatures, human and animal, but to sinners 7 times more, come death and bloodshed and strife and sword, calamities and famine and ruin and plague. All these were created for the lawless, and on their account the flood came. All that is of earth returns to earth, and what is from above returns above. All bribery and injustice will be blotted out, but good faith will last forever. The wealth of the unjust will dry up like a river and crash like a loud clap of thunder in a storm. As a generous person has cause to rejoice, so lawbreakers will utterly fail. The children of the ungodly put out few branches. They are unhealthy roots on sheer rock. The reeds by any water or river bank are plucked up before any grass, but kindness is like a garden of blessings, and almsgiving endures forever. A life of abundance and wages make life sweet, but better than either is finding a treasure. Children and the building of a city establish one's name, but better than either is the one who finds wisdom. Cattle and orchards make one prosperous, but a blameless wife is accounted better than either. Wine and music gladden the heart, but the love of friends is better than either. The flute and the harp make sweet melody, but a pleasant voice is better than either. The eye desires grace and beauty, but the green shoots of grain more than either. A friend or companion is always welcome, but a sensible wife is better than either. Kindred and helpers are for a time of trouble, but almsgiving rescues better than either. Gold and silver make one stand firm, but good counsel is esteemed more than either. Riches and strength build up confidence, but the fear of the Lord is better than either. There is no want in the fear of the Lord, and with it there is no need to seek for help. The fear of the Lord is like a garden of blessing, and covers a person better than any glory. My child, do not lead the life of a beggar. It is better to die than to beg. When one looks to the table of another, one's way of life cannot be considered a life. One loses self-respect with another person's food, but one who is intelligent and well instructed guards against that. In the mouth of the shameless begging is sweet, but it kindles a fire inside them.